was yesterday. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Everton Daily Live. Sean Dyche has just done his press conference ahead of Everton's final Premier League game at Goodison Park this season.
One of his finest, I thought. One of his finest ever press conferences.
Fair play.
The joy I took from it cannot be measured.
Well,
in a humanly tally.
He did hint that Seamus Coleman wasn't about to retire.
Yeah,
Good question by Julia Bold, pushed him on it. And he did sort of say that without saying it.
Yeah.
Seamus wouldn't be retiring, which is good news, I think.
It's good news for the Blues.
And I think, you know what? Where Everton are and where we are financially, as long as, and I think he has been a backup this season as well, having him around the place again. You know, if you've got a ton of money, it's different. Your choices are different, aren't they? But one more go for Seamus, maybe.
The last ride.
Well, you know,
the last dance.
Yeah, but isn't it, in some respects, isn't it an appropriate end to him that his final season will probably be the final season?
But then people go, he's got to play the first season.
I know, but
no, listen, I want him to stay because it's Seamus Coleman. Because it's Seamus Coleman. No, listen, whatever. What I didn't want was to rock up on the 30th of June and someone go, you're done, mate. You know, classic Everton.
Normally just get a text, don't you? Or have done in the past.
They would get a text, but they've no one's topped up the pay-as-you-go.
Got to wait to see if 777 pay for the pay-as-you-go before they get binned.
No one's topped it up, so unless you got WhatsApp, and they got that on the free Wi-Fi. So,
yeah,
no.
But it is good news for the Blues.
It is.
No, I think, listen, where the squad is, and you know, I guess if he's staying, then you're looking at other positions, then, aren't you? Because they've gone after piece other positions to get that out there, I think. But don't know what's happening with the Drishagana Gay. Hopefully he stays. For me, he's got to stay. Ashley Young, don't know what's happening with him. We know Gomez will go. Dele will go. Yeah. Possibly.
Dele will go, will he?
Well, who knows?
Was he ever here?
I mean, who's to say that Everton wouldn't offer him a massively reduced deal?
No.
So Dele will go.
Just go.
Lonergan will go, obviously.
No, don't say that.
This Saturday.
And then there's decisions, like you said before, on Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Adelaide.
Well, the manager was pushed, wasn't he, on those questions? He was pushed on. What are you doing?
No,
you can't do a voiceover while we're trying to do this.
Just do it at the end.
Honest to God. You upset people yesterday, now you're upsetting us.
I mean, Emma's literally said, what's Ned come as today?
I've got so much to do.
Is his camera on?
It's always the busiest days ever. It's not because I've got so much to do.
Well, you've got so much to do. Well, maybe you should get in early and do it then.
I did come in early.
Or just do it now.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I've got so much to do.
He was pushed on the whole situation, wasn't he, off the pitch situation, and he wasn't willing to bite, which is fine. But it is important, isn't it, that he knows what's going on, because otherwise these decisions can't be made. Whether he'd have any input in them anyway, we don't know, do we? He mightn't have any input in any of these decisions. The director of football might have all the input. You know, who knows? I mean, but we've seen before when he doesn't have input in decisions that the director of football makes, then you get a number 10 who hardly kicks a ball all season. So
physically a number, like...
No, you get an actual player with a number 10 on his shirt who doesn't play football all season. Because the director of football had obviously spent a lot of time bringing him in, and the manager doesn't want him, never wanted him. Clear as day, innit?
I mean, he said in the bonus episode that...
the bonus episode, yeah.
In January that... If he just won't play them.
Oh, play him.
So it doesn't matter, basically. Which... Not convinced that's the right way.
Is the issue with the manager there, or these director sporty types? You know, this new wangled, new line of people in football.
Fandangled roles.
Yeah,
that they
football manager
themselves.
These kind of people. Is it their problem?
Laptop manager. That's what Brendan Rodgers called them, didn't he? The laptop managers of football.
There's no one in the room who can speak up for them on their behalf,
so
though.
we can
So
say what we want,
we can say
couldn't we?
exactly what we want. There's no one willing to go.
I think
on
the
camera.
thing, there is a decision with that, though, isn't there? I think there's a decision to be made with that, because you can look at the right and the wrongs of it. Like, should a director of football? No, I'm asking.
No, that I think that decision has been made in the last 12 months, hasn't it? Let's be honest. You can't just come to a point and go,
Is this fan bugging everyone?
it's not bugging me. And we're the ones who are here. Gives a monkeys about anyone else.
There's a draft, lads, going on.
How's there a draft?
It's absolutely roasting
Warm
in here.
We've got all lights and all kinds
It's
of
probably Ned just
You just turn the fan off.
turned it off, mate.
Got
'cause
loads of work to do.
what have you got to do? That's more work than what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hot.
No, you've come in a pair of knickers.
shorts.
That's all you've got on.
It's boiling.
It isn't boiling
It's
at all in this room. It's boiling under the lights like we
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
Where
we
you
are.
are in the dark is not warm.
We are literally in the spotlight.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that's been sorted out in the last 12 months.
No, but I
hasn't it?
just mean in
the dynamic.
No, and what I mean is in general at football clubs, what is the right path? Is it a director of football chooses
Only-
the no, what I'm
If
asking
only
you.
we had someone in the room who could. No, it has to be the best of what each can offer. Just me seeing it with, like, when Brands was in charge, he obviously moved with the manager. So when Carlo came in, he went and got the players that Carlo wanted, and that was his job then. Now, whether that was the right thing, that's not
what I was gonna
that's
say.
not up to me.
No,
to
but I'm
say.
asking you that, Annie.
But no, it has to be. The director of football is the long-term decision maker for the football club, isn't he? He's the fella who has to put the roadmap in place. The manager's the fella who drives the car down the road. That's how it has to be. But of course, the managers will make decisions like Dan Juma, where if you've just got this player, you've put all this work in, and then he's not prepared to play him, then what's the point? So it has to, of course, it has to be collaborative, but you have to find that little bit of ground, that common ground to work from. If you never find that, Steve Walsh and Coleman, you never find that common ground, then you're going to be butting heads all the time. So there has to be collaborative decision making. Of course, there has to be, but long term strategies have to be put in place by the director of football, because the manager doesn't know whether he's coming or going. And that's everywhere in football, isn't it? The idea that managers can just manage now is just ludicrous. You know, I was watching a documentary not last night, night before. It was about Ian Wright and David Rocastle. It was about 7 years old. I didn't even realise, but really, really good. And there was someone like Wrighty's transferred to Palace, and it was just like David Dean picked up the phone, spoke to Ron Knowles, and went, "How much you want for him?" He went, £2.5 million. Sound done, and that was it. George Graham got a phone call off Leeds for David Rocastle, and he was like, "What do you want for him?" He was like, "This much." Okay, I'll go and speak to upstairs. Go upstairs. Yeah, is that all right? Yeah, sound, job done. Doesn't work like that anymore, does it? So there will be elements of that, but all the other stuff that goes into it. Managers want to manage now. They want to coach. We're in a new era of football now where we have coaches. We have managed players who've just finished. The coaching now. We've just seen Keane McKenna do it. They want to coach. They want to make players better. The old style, word in your ear and all that, it's gone now. It's gone.
But is Sean Dyche one of those?
Do you know what? It's really hard to get in. It's really hard to know. But ultimately, he does a lot. He does leave a lot of the coaching to Ian Woan and Steve Stone. So it's hard to know exactly what he is. Facilitator, suppose. So I don't know. Does that put him in conflict with the director of football? I don't really know. But Everton's in such a mess. I think you need both of them anyway.
Oh, you do. I'm just
I
saying.
think there's anyone else.
I'm just saying in terms of like players, because I know some people's fear is that Sean Dyche gets to choose all the players, and then if he doesn't survive, then Everton will be left again in a similar thing of what's happened in the past, whereas you buy a certain type of player, the manager gets sacked, then a new manager comes in and doesn't want those players.
Do we live in a generation now where there isn't those certain types of players? Do we have players that play for clubs that Burnley, that we think they can only play one way, but actually if you take them out of that environment and put them in a different environment, then maybe they'll flourish in a different environment? Isn't that, our footballers, don't they have the ability to do more than one thing?
Well, he should do, yeah.
Is it just a club that just creates a scenario? We hear the word Burnley, but Burnley don't even play like Burnley used to play. Oh, that's the irony of that situation. Burnley play expansive football now, for right or wrong. So they're not even playing it. So if you take a player out of Burnley now, he's not going to be a Sean Dyche type player. He could be a Sean type Dyche player, but he might be able to play both ways.
Can Sean Dyche play both ways?
On a Tuesday night? Don't know.
Because that's what people will ask, won't they? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just asking you the questions. Because the thing is, there is I've said it all season, even when people were saying I was wrong, because that these players were better than he was showing, and these players are capable of playing decent football.
But the only argument I'd say to that is that, and it's not really an argument as such, is I don't think they have played better football in the last couple of weeks. They've just done what they've done all season at their best. So the derby, the derby was just the best example of the way Sean Dyche plays football.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything amazing. It was just the best way we can play. We did everything spot on, but it was still Sean Dyche's team playing in a Sean Dyche kind of way at the best of its ability. I don't think there's been too many moments where we've got the ball down and knocked it around. They can work harder and they can be more tuned into the tactics that they're being asked to play. But I'm not. It's still. Are you getting the most out of these players?
Crystal Palace, though, don't you? Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson played totally different than they do under Oliver Glasner. I'm not saying they've gone from long ball to Manchester City, but there's a better version. I think if a different manager came into Everton who wanted to play more football, I think he could make Everton a better. I'm not having a go with Dyche, I'm just saying, and that's where the type of player.
Don't you think that comes down to individuals? Don't you think like Palace, basically what they've done is they've said to.
But they got Ezzy and
haven't they basically said to 7 players, this is what you do, and see these 3 players, they do something different.
Yeah. And again,
not amazing, but you know what I mean.
That'll come from by getting Everton some more dynamic players. I think,
yeah, of course.
I think Sean Dyche, his side, if he had 2 wide players.
Well, you pace, don't we?
Me and Ned have proved it. Me and Ned have proved they've gone out. You'll have to catch up, but we've gone out in the transfer window.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were going with that then.
No, in FC, in our road.
I thought you had a race down the street or something.
I don't even run anymore.
I know you won.
But now
I've seen your pace trying to making because you're too tight to buy fast passes. So I've seen your pace trying to get to the queues at Disney.
Would you pay fucking 30 quid just to go on one ride when you can just get in a bit earlier? But that's it, isn't it? It's that if Everton could go and add a couple of quick plays in wide areas, then it changed the way we play. And I guess the flexibility of Sean Dyche, for me, would be developed by playing Dwight McNeil inside sometimes. I think we saw against, was it the Brentford game?
He started going
one off the crossbar.
But this is what I was saying when you were away, right? And this is to get the best out of Dwight McNeil, you need a left back. A better left back. And that's the irony of the situation is we've got a pretty decent left back, but it doesn't serve the purposes of what we need. If we had Luca Dean playing left back for us and we had Dwight McNeil playing in a more central role, it'd work. The room on the outside is just.
Couldn't McNeil? I'll ask.
I think personally the answer to it is going to get a 28-year-old centre forward from Blackburn.
He's not a centre. He's an attacking midfielder, and he's 5'3". But he's had a great season, Sammy. I just want to know, would he be outside with Ryan asking questions before a game? That's what I want to know.
Not if he was playing.
Yeah. He could do it at 1. When you've got a match at 3, but you're with Ryan at 1. Could be a thing. Where's his kit?
Ned's kit?
Ned would try and buy it off him 1 second after he's wore it, that's for sure. What I'm saying is,
but isn't that typical though? Isn't that typical that to get the best out of Dwight McNeil, you'd have to replace a player that we don't.
Yeah, so just buy a better left-sided player.
I know, but what I'm saying is though, Dwight McNeil in the last couple of weeks, if you watch him, is starting on the left, drifting on the inside, and he's leaving loads of. We're actually doing something tactically well. We're drawing everyone over to the other side of the pitch and leaving loads of space in, but we haven't got anyone to exploit that. And that's the irony situation is that we can go and get a new left back, but we don't really need a new left back. But it's certainly not the first place you buy, is it? And that's the stupidity of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, but I think what I'm trying to say is that the flexibility within that squad, because you will need it at times, is that Dwight McNeil could go inside. I'm not saying all the time, but where Decore has hit the wall, hasn't he, and scored since December? And he's offering, when he's not scoring goals, I actually think Decore's better deeper.
No, he is.
Because he covers more ground.
He played well against Forest,
right,
and he played well in the derby, starting position, coming from deeper, and then hitting into the position rather than coming from front to back. He's gone from back to front.
And then if you had Dwight McNeil in that, I guess the 10. The reason why I'm saying it is because if you are trying to juggle, which we'll have to, it's not like we're going to have 2 players in each position and all that. McNeil's shooting ability from central areas is something we don't have.
That's what it's felt like though in those 3 home games, is that we're trying to get him almost into like a special teams position, like in the rugby or something. We're trying to get him in that role to get on his left foot, but not from a starting position on the right, but essentially right position, like Labour, where he can tee off. And obviously we saw him score against Forest. I mean, he hit the bar against Brentford doing that as well. And he's having to come across, and it's just leaving a big wide space on the left hand side that nobody's filling. And it's like half the tactics are right, but if we had someone on that left hand side, it'd be mad if we could just get someone. But so there is elements of being able to get more out of the players, obviously, but you need other players. But isn't that just like the number one question? It's like we need players. We don't know how we're going to get players. You know, we don't know who's going to own us.
Well, we're going to sell.
We don't know who isn't going to own us. We don't know anything.
I mean, Dean says if we're losing 20 million a month, where's the money coming from to buy these players? But you have to have players. It's kind of fundamental for football. We're not losing 20 million a month, by the way.
We're not losing 20 million a month. We have a shortfall that the owner used to put in, and obviously we've got a stadium to build. Now I don't know, and no one seems to know how much is left on that stadium. John said it was much less than what had been put out, 100 million. Again, I don't know whether that's accurate, but John's in the Everton Shareholders Association, so you imagine they have a little bit more on that. So they're putting in for that, and they're paying the shortfall, which Macheri would normally pay. So you'd like to think they'll pay that. And a lot of that shortfall is because of the interest on the other loans. And then after we sort it out, someone has to come in and either, if they're coming in, pay them off or restructure the debt.
Well, it'll be the restructuring, but the Everton are in. It's almost like a false reality at the moment. It's very much reality because the money's going up.
Being safe for 3 games to go.
Yeah. No, but we're in a situation of limbo, aren't we? The owner, the current owner, has sort of gone, I'm happy for you to pay that now. Yeah. And those people who've been paying it can't really make decisions because they're not the owners as such, without a restructured debt and how to set things up. There's a big stadium that costs money being built. Once that stadium's completed, then them costs are gone, aren't they? And you start generating money. But you've also if someone gets hold of it now, which they will do in the next, whatever anyone says, Everton will have new owners probably in the next 3 months, however that looks.
We've got 6 months.
Still could be 777.
We've got 6 months.
Write them off at this moment.
Got 6 months of the stadium, basically. Now, I don't know whether that's 6 months of funding the stadium or 6 months of... It's going to be complete in 6 months. You know, we're May now. It's going to be complete early December, you'd imagine. Finishing touches. So it's going to have to be paid, you'd imagine, 2 months before that. For cash flow and stuff to make sure money's in.
Apparently there was less than 70 million on it.
John said less the other day.
Less than that. No, well, this was 2 months ago.
There's 1,200 men on site.
Right, so it's
not like there's not like this idea that it's like coming down. There's 1,200 men on site working to get that finished. So it's not like don't worry about don't really hear any other stories about it now. They've already gone. There's always work going on. Everything is, the roof's nearly done, and then the sides will get done. The seats are nearly done. It's only the safe standing seats that need to go in now. Bar a couple of corporate areas.
So things are moving in the right direction, definitely. But if you're buying that business, coming into that business, the first thing you want to do is take care of the restructuring of the debt, and lots of companies will do that, but you can't do it till you own it. And Macheri, it seems like he can't be asked, although well, that's how it seems. It probably isn't that, but that's how it feels because we don't get any information, do we? And the club don't seem to put out any information because maybe they don't know them.
They haven't got enough media staff to do it.
But there's other, so we need someone to come in. The minute someone comes in, if they can restructure payments and stuff, because it's obviously better to get your money than to risk losing it. You've got to still buy footballers. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You play game. You can't go, we've got no money. There'll always be money. Clubs will always spend money on footballers. And Everton will sell Amadou Onana this summer.
Yeah.
And that'll generate money. Some big earners will leave and that'll generate money. And if you can start doing some of the deals that Everton done last year, and if we are taking over and they make some cash available, as in, I'm not talking, how they can throw 100 million and we can spend it, but it's just actual cash to put down on players, then Everton could still make big strides in the transfer window this summer. They'd have to do it differently, and it might not look how everyone wants it to look, but Everton, there's a lot of footballers in the world. And there's a lot of footballers playing in other countries who've got pace that Everton simply don't have in their side, that Everton could get from other, and some of it'll be a risk, of course it is, but would you rather, I personally would rather Everton spend £15 million on a player or £10 million from a player who's playing in Europe for a down payment of £2 million, who's quick, than £15 million on Neil Maupay just because he's played in the Premier League but doesn't fit what we're trying to do. And I think for too long Everton have gone for the option of players who just
starting out the box,
because they've played in the Premier League.
There's players who play in Scandinavian and places like that who've already played Champions League football and have already played at that kind of level. You wouldn't be paying an absolute fortune for, but for some reason we've continued to look at players who have Premier League experience but haven't played at those kind of levels.
And are never going to drag it anywhere. It's not like Everton, it's not like Arsenal did it with going and buying Manchester City players, going, we're going to go with. And I know Everton are at a lower base, but we weren't always at a lower base, yet we were still buying the wrong player. And when City had their takeover, they went and bought people like Sergio Aguero, he was doing well in Spain, but he wasn't like the Sergio Aguero from 2 years later at City, was he? They still bought players who were good prospects, but they went and done that. Everton never did that. Even with the money, even when they had money to spend, the biggest profile player they bought was bloody Gylfi Sigurdsson. And he's playing at Swansea. So now it's about thinking outside the box. It's about doing things a different way. We can all laud Brighton, and rightly so, for some of the players they bought. I'm not talking about results-wise, because I don't think I've won as many games as Brighton this season. But Brighton have just sold too many of them, but there's still a model there where you reinvest. We're always, or certainly in the near future, we are only going to be able to fund what we're doing essentially by selling, and a lot of teams do it. That sell to buy phrase has damaged things that in your head mentally people go, we're a selling club. Well, every club's a selling club, really.
But who knows though? Because when you think about it, right, we've got Machiri sort of distorts it because of the money he's put in. But we've gone on, not well, but obviously we've got when you look at the facilities this football club has got to generate money compared to other football clubs. We've got the last stadium from over 100 years. For over 100, no one else has got that, and we've somehow managed. Like, if anyone's been in the corporate facilities at Everton, they're just they're non-existent. A couple of rooms that have been done up a few times, and then suddenly you move into a stadium that straight away has got 13,000 extra seats in it straight away, and then you add all the facilities and the non-match facilities straight away. There's extra money being created, non-match day money. That's straight away money is coming through the door.
I think
that's not going to pay for everything, of course. But straight away you've got that new source of getting cash in.
And I think we both agree that if a new owner can come in and can get the fans on board and take the fans on that journey of look, try to spend your money with us. Let's create more income and let's try to do it together. Sunderland have done this to a certain extent with their fan base, and they've got that club going in a better direction than obviously what it was. But you have to try and create that, don't you? Because Evertonians want the club to explode, and they're a rabid fan base. We're passionate. We want to get behind our club, but we want something to believe in, and we haven't had anything to believe in, because the first time we did start believing, it didn't play out how we wanted it to, and I think the last few years will bring. Remember when we were, the Wimbledon game sold out. Games before then weren't sold out, and then it was that day where people realised what they might lose, and then it created the average attendances went up, and people were grateful to go to the game again. And then we've had that a couple of resets. This might be the reset again. Whereas if we got owners who just had a bit of a plan, and listen, we're clearly not going to get Manchester City type owners who are going to come in and develop everywhere, and it doesn't seem like that'd be the case. But if you could get owners who come in with a plan, and the fans when we're getting right behind this, because look at the crap we've put up with over the last few years, that could create it. But we have to have a bigger plan in place, don't we? And without that, what are we going to do? Jack lad, no, we haven't been to the stadium. He just says, if you boys been to the stadium, the club lets Still Ryan go.
Still Ryan works for Everton, so that's why he's gone there.
Yeah, true.
That's just the way to look at it. He just works for them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just an Everton person, isn't he? Everton employee.
Yeah, he's always been, but he's just confirming that he's still. There was a nasty rumour going around that he wasn't, and he just wanted to make sure. Unless there's a concentrated one out there. And what?
With pulp.
Yeah,
with
just
the pulp.
There's different variations.
He works for Everton. He's an Everton presenter, isn't he? That's why he's there.
No, they won't let us in.
And fair play to them. They won't let us in because
They might let Baz in, they won't let me in.
He's got no chance.
He fucking ain't me at Everton.
And just very quickly.
Man in the room.
There are players in Europe, aren't there, who Everton could take a chance on. I know you're not going to have a mic and people will be fuming, but if you relay it, I'll relay. Or if you got a mic, just to say, you don't have to tell me players.
Grab that mic over there. Go over there and grab that mic.
The next one over there. Ned, could you put a mic up for Andy, please? Just so we can.
He's going over there.
Tell him where to go.
You're not exploiting. You're just giving a general view on football.
The name.
That microphone. Left or right? Left. That's right. That's right.
That one he's got older.
Just clip that to you.
Right.
Just clip that there. Man in the room. Who is involved in recruitment. Who works in the football business.
Thank you.
There are players around Europe, aren't there, without having to always defer to Premier League experience, who Everton could get at a lower cost, who would bring a pace to the side.
Yeah, most certainly. I think the issue that Everton have got and the recruitment staff have got is Sean Dyche is very particular in how he likes to recruit. He wants certain non-negotiables in terms of players. You looked at, you talked about Dan Juma earlier. I think that Dyche would have been happy to bring a player of Dan Juma's ability to Everton, but when he's got him in the building, maybe he hasn't lived up to his standards in terms of levels and training, or whatever it may be, his personality, or whatever it may be. So it just hasn't worked out, and that's the risk you take with any player. You can bring players in who are the best players in the world, but if they don't click with the team, click with the manager, there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of good players in Europe. Obviously, a lot of Premier League teams let players go from, you talked about Sweden earlier, they go to Sweden, to Belgium, then to Germany. Should they take them winning in Sweden or Belgium? Probably yes. Yeah. Because it cuts that extra to 20, 30, talked about it before, and Alexander Isak was offered around the Premier League in 2019 for £9.5 million when he was just coming off a loan of Willem II. He was still at Borussia Dortmund, no one would take him. Goes to Sociedad, the price goes up, 60 million? Yeah. So yeah, that's what you're up against really in terms of, but it's all about risk, and managers accepting that risk, because managers, as Ped pointed out earlier, they've only got a finite amount of time, they won't take risks, they'll put their job, but that's about trusting a club, an owner saying we'll back you, to give you time to develop these players. It's all about them. Unfortunately, Everton over the last couple of years haven't been in that situation, just because we've been trying to make Europe, and then with the financial issues we have, we've been trying to stay up since then. But, so there's no settled period really.
But where they are now, in terms of not having tons of cash, doesn't it make a bit of sense if you hit those markers, say if you're quick and you can get at players, but we can get you in for a lower cost, doesn't it Is that the market that Everton are just simply going to have to shop in?
I'd be surprised if they shopped in that market still.
Really, still?
Because of the manager. The manager wants certain types of players. He wants battle-ready players. Like, he won't, see with Schmitty's a very talented young player, played just under 1,000 minutes for Sporting Lisbon last season. The manager hasn't really played him because he's wanting him to get to a certain level of tactical understanding, physical, because Dyche is big on physical aspects of the game, before he'll allow him to be... for allowing to play a certain amount of minutes. So if you thought that Everton can't wait for, if they've still got Dwight McNeil and whether Jack Harrison comes back or not, Everton probably can't wait 3/4 of the season for two players to develop under Dyche like that. So they have to bring in battle tested Ashley Youngs and people like that. So I'm not blaming the manager. The manager wants to keep his job at the end of the day, but this is where you've got to balance. Everton have got to stay up, but they've also got to evolve and have building blocks for the future, which I think Dyche has to evolve as a manager to do as well.
It is tough, isn't it? Because the real way, and I don't know whether a new owner or owners come in and have that vision that you might have to bow down a little bit. I don't know. We don't know, do we? But I think
he might hold his hands up and say, "Yeah, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try something different." But
a bit of both.
On this, this is part. He asked for Charlie Taylor, for example, last summer, and the club were unwilling to sign Charlie Taylor, for example. So there's still that element of Dyche has got to come to an agreement with the recruitment staff and vice versa. So there's not all one or all the other.
Yeah, and there's one for you to keep an eye on. Kevin Sullivan just signed for Philadelphia Union.
No, he's signed for
14.
He's signed for Man City already.
Has he? Yeah.
Yeah, so they've signed him out of Philadelphia already.
14 years.
Kevin Sullivan. Yeah.
That's
crazy.
They've got 2 15-year-olds as well, haven't they? They're just
very good club in Philadelphia, to be fair.
I'm just talking about Dwight McNeil there. No, he started off as a centre midfield player, didn't he? Before
he did. He made it in the academy at Burnley. Yeah.
But you see him. Is there a case for him maybe playing in a number 10 at times for Everton because he can dig the ball with that left foot? In the
right games, yeah, and if you use him in the right way and you feed him the ball enough, and if he can get free in the middle of the park. I think the reason Dyche ended up playing, obviously he's left-footed, so Dyche likes the balance of 4-4-2 balance, really, in the sense that he likes a left midfielder, right midfielder, right back, left back, with all comfortable on that side. But I think also when McNeil was younger in the youth team, he tended to go missing in the middle of games.
Yeah.
Where he wouldn't get on the ball, and I think he found less touches on the outside, but he get more opportunities to cross it, more opportunities to go past players. And I think as he's developing now, he is developing more into rather than a wing and attacking midfielder. So it may, he may end up coming inside more often. But then, as Ped said, if you're playing, a false, a sort of running 10 in Decore, and you've got 2 attacking midfielders rather than 2 wingers, and the 2 attacking midfielders are coming inside, then you do have the need for those fullbacks. But again, Sean likes players who stay at home, Michalenko types, Ben Godfrey types who defend and keep the shape at the back.
Again, no, that's
balance. It's all about balancing it and evolving as a team tactically.
No, it is, isn't it? But then that flips the importance onto your 2 wide players. Then if your 2 fullbacks aren't really going to be going on the outside, and you always should have one who does. But if you're not,
you can even rotate. If you're playing, obviously Decore doesn't have to always be in the way. You can rotate, out wide as a dummy player, or you can rotate Garner, because Garner can sit in that right hand channel pocket and cross balls as well. So you can do it all sorts of ways. It just depends. Everton do need to, I feel, need to get better in the final third in terms of the way the attacking patterns. Maybe with another window, as you say, with some better players that might evolve. But at the moment, it's fair. Let's get the ball out wide. Still, let's get the ball in the box for Dom, which works. But I think we need to be a little bit more cute. Maybe.
Can I ask you about a certain player, or do you not want me to?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not trying to sign him for anyone. Go on.
Lamech Banda at Lecce. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I think they've got a couple of good players. Lecce, Covino used to be a Fiorentina's the sporting director. He's got he doesn't use data really. He's got just a great eye for talent in terms of watching youth tournaments. I think he probably needs another season, before he comes to the Premier League. I think there's some
quick, isn't he?
Yeah, some good aspects to his play. Just needs to develop his consistency really, in his output. But no, he's got ability. He's got.
And what about? And everyone knows this fella, of course. But what about Crescencio Somerville at Leeds? Leeds didn't get up.
I've watched him up close twice this season. I've never seen the player so quick in all my life. Yeah, Jesus. That's I just don't think he's a Dyche type player. I just don't think he wants to get back and defend as much, which is why I didn't play a lot under Bielsa. I think I know he was young then, but he probably wasn't as ready for the tactical side. I'd be very surprised if a Dyche took a Somerville, but he's a hell of a player and he can make things happen.
Because he could, if you've got like a Michalenko who isn't going to overcommit, then he could potentially, because he is quick and he's got an eye for goal, doesn't he?
Yeah, coming off the right on that right foot. Yeah, it's just how much it costs. Leeds are well backed as a club. Obviously, they might not make it up this season, but they still probably hold out for another season keeping them. So it just depends on how much you can pay for them.
But again, just on that, for those. There is these players, that's what I'm saying. These players Leeds have gone and got it. I know we come through their academy, and if you watch Academy Dreams, he's involved in that as well. But there are these players in Europe. It's not like if they're not in the Premier League, they don't exist. And I just think for Everton to move forward, I think they're going to have the foot in both camps.
I think they will do. That's definitely. It's just whether they can, whether the manager will take those players on and play them, because. Yeah. There's no point in Everton start spending, I know we didn't end up putting any money down this year, but if you put them 15 million down on Chimiti, would that money have been better spent? I think he'll turn out to be a fine signing, but would that money have been better spent on, 2 other players this season who'd start or would have started 10 games each? I don't know. It's hard to say, but got to balance that act. Yeah.
What would, in your opinion, what would you do with Chimiti then for next season? Because he played against Brentford. I thought he did. I've watched a lot of it back, and I thought he did really well, actually. There was times when he wasn't in the game, and he physically, you've got to learn to use his body, but I thought there was some lovely little touches in there for a lad who's hardly played.
I think he's well schooled. I think, people talk about, there's a bit of a people talk about a bit of a case of young Portuguese players when they come out of Portugal academies, they don't tend to do well. I think Sporting Lisbon's different. Their players do tend to do well when they come out of the academy, whereas Benfica, as we've seen, people spend big money on Benfica players, they haven't always worked out. I think he could be the second striker next season if Everton decided to move on from Beto or Dom, whichever one. I think he could easily be Everton's second striker. I think there was a thought he may go out on loan, but I'd be surprised that now, because I think he's shown that he could play a part next season. And you can't. I don't think Everton have got. I think Okarankwal will go out on loan as well. So I don't think Everton have got enough strength and depth in terms of strikers to be able to let one of the best strikers go out on loan.
But what are your thoughts on the likes of Beto then? Because I think he is raw. I think we've commented a lot of times on he's quite clearly missed the part of his development.
Yeah,
but
obvious, isn't it?
He is a handful, and he can be useful.
The problem with him though is so raw that can he get that development in the Premier League, like in game, like in the game, like Schmidt, you can see it because you can see that the grounding is there, and you can see the process of like where you're going to take those rough edges off. Beto, I worry about. Like I really worry about.
He's 26, isn't
exactly. He? Like how long of a process does it take? Like when they both came on at Luton, Schmidt was dropping in and looking for the pass, and then when he got the pass, you could see the mistakes he was making with down to experience, like not like an opportunity to put a ball opportunity to put a ball into the box, not doing it, and then where you going to go? Then you've got to go back and start again. Beto just doesn't make that initial contact, I don't think, a lot of the time, and I just worry that his movement's quite good. His movement's good.
He's got decent pace,
but I just worry that he just doesn't have those like fundamentals that you see that players get early on in their careers, and you expect those things to have been ironed out if you're paying 30 million for a player from Italy.
That's what happens in Italy though. If you think about Italian strikers or players who've done well in Italy, you do get your Ibrahimovic types who are wonderful footballers as well. But you also get your Inzaghi's, who wasn't a footballer's cousin but could finish his dinner every day of the week. And I think Beto falls in that cat where, like you say, Petty has got that same pedigree as a Chimiti, has got the same fundamentals. But in Italy, you don't need those fundamentals to be successful. Whereas in the Premier League, you need to be an all-round striker. We talk about strikers going up from the Championship. We knew Ivan Toney would probably make it because he was at that all-round profile. Where you're Alan Armstrong, you're Adam Armstrong, smaller winger striker, didn't really do as well because that's not the type of player that works in the Premier League. So,
is there a case, Ando, that if we could create more chances for Beto, he could score? Because he doesn't get a lot.
That's why they signed him. I think because they understood that if he does get a chance, he can convert the chance.
Yeah.
I think that was why they didn't sign him from a top team that was creating 20 chances a game. They signed him from a mid-table team that that's a battle for every result. So bottom half team in some cases at Udinese. So yeah, I understand why they signed him, that because he can convert chances. It's just that sometimes in the Premier League you need that little bit more to create your own chance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But again, if Everton start putting balls in the box, then he's dangerous. And if Dom's still there, just Beto only needs to score 7, 8 goals, and it makes a big difference to Everton.
Yeah.
But if Dom's still there, his development doesn't go up, does it? That's the point, isn't it? It's like it's real-time development.
Both of them, I think, are the same. Dom's a better footballer, 100%, but Dom doesn't really create
He's not a
his
natural
own
finisher.
chances.
He's not a natural finisher.
No, but Dom can control games, though. And that's the difference, isn't it? The ball, it has to be a very particular ball to Beto, whereas Dom can bring other people into play a lot more and can control what's going on. Beto just doesn't seem to have...
Beto thrives in quick chaos, so if the ball's bouncing, he can hit it on the half volley and it's in the back of the net. Dom doesn't score those type of goals. Dom has to either have it right in front of him, he's putting it in, or he's heading it. 1v1 again, Dom's not great at, but Beto's probably a better 1v1 player in that sense as well. So I think if you amalgamate the two, you'd have a hell of a striker, but it's just, they've both got the flaws. But it's Everton not in a position to have a, supreme striker like a Haaland or whatever,
Imagine. Yes, I had a lovely holiday, everyone was asking. Thank you very much. Steve, just a quick one. Skelly Alvaro, what do you think of him? And
he struggled this season. He went to Lyon from, was it Sochaux? 6'8", very gangly centre midfielder. He's gone to Germany. He's not really picked up minutes. Expecting to go out on loan. I'd be surprised if he ended up in the Championships. We may end up back in France at a mid to lower table team. But he's an interesting player. I think he's still developing. I say 6'8". He moves quite well, to be fair, but it's quite hard to be a midfielder at 6'8" and sort of keep up with the game. But no, I think he's definitely an interesting player. I don't think he'll ever be I may be wrong, but I don't think he'll ever be a Premier League level midfielder. But we'll see.
got the attributes, but it's whether the Premier League.
I think the size does go against him in terms of his gangliness and fouling people as well.
But it's the Premier League is so intense, isn't it? In the central areas that it's you've got to be able to get about, haven't you? Unless you're just going to sit in front of your two centre.
You've got someone like João Palhinha, who's really intelligent player. He's got decent legs, but he's not a top athlete. But he can get around because he understands where to be, when to be.
Jorge Rodriguez said I like Beto a lot. He didn't play enough minutes for me to make up my mind. The same with Chimity.
Yeah, but neither did I Sal.
Stop it.
Interesting.
No, the point's the same though, isn't it? Players get better by not playing football.
Beto's done all right though, I think.
He's not anywhere. No, the point being, he's not anywhere near the level to start games for Everton Football Club though, as we are right now. I'd say.
I'd say it's the Dele Alli thing. We've seen Dele Alli forever, and he's been okay-ish. But because the longer he's out, it's like he's 2017 Dele, definitely 100%. That's what's coming back. It's like, is it? Yeah. Wish him all the best.
Fundamentally, Beto fundamentally changes the way you play as well, because his strength is going off centre backs, isn't it? That's his strength, going in behind centre backs. Dice wants him to win the ball. You're fundamentally changing the way you play to suit a different player. It doesn't look like a player that was bought by the manager, does it? Really, it's a player that was bought by the director of football.
And again, seems like they just said we need.
And I don't blame anyone because there's a list, isn't it? There's a list of players that you can get, and you didn't have to put any cash down. I mean, we chased the other kid all summer to lose him. I know he got the knee injury. But the reason why we lost him is because we weren't willing to put any money down. So don't blame anybody at the club, by the way, for any of this. I'm not saying it's a bad decision.
No, I'm just asking about, because I don't think we'd be in a position where someone will come and buy Beto anyway. So,
another year of development. I can see a position though where, like going against Luton, I'd have brought Chimity on to play up front with Dom. I'd have never brought the two of them on together. I don't, because I don't know why he made the decision to change the midfield. No, but early on, 10 minutes early, he should have brought Chimity on and played two of them up front instead of bringing on Onana and Andre Gomez. That's where we were losing the game. And I can see a situation where that can happen more and more. Or Beto's not coming on and Chimity's coming on with Dom and having someone who can drop into that number 10 role, as Chimity looks like he can do. So I can see a situation where Chimity goes past Beto. That's slightly worrying, that.
But it depends what happens with Dom, though, doesn't it? If Dom doesn't stay, then Beto becomes the 9, doesn't he?
Oh, see, I don't have...
No, but I'm just saying, like, from a practical thing, that's what would happen, wouldn't it?
It would.
Unless, there's money comes in and they find it totally different. Eamon says Beto needs balls down the line to use his power and pace. I do agree with you when he comes on. we still do the same thing that we do with Dom instead of going, right now we need to be playing. Because when you do play balls down the channel, that is where his strength is.
Stretch play better than Dom in some ways.
That is his strength, and he's better at Dom at running into channels.
We're not a team that wants to make the pitch bigger, though.
Exactly, and that's a issue, isn't it? When you've got it, when you know, we've seen it where Dom hasn't played for whatever reason, and you're going, right, lads, today we're going to change the style. That's what we complained about Mopai about. And it's fundamentally the same issue, isn't it? Okay, strength and physicality are different, but we changed the style to cope with Mopai, and that can't really... It should be a tactic, but when you're changing things, it's a bit worrying.
Strahina Pavlovic.
It's not a real pass.
Weight replacement.
Sol's peg. It costs a lot of money. Like,
That's the problem, isn't
more
it?
than Everton are probably going to be willing to. But Everton sold Branthwaite for 75, 80 million, we'll call it. You're probably better buying 2 centre-halves for 20 million each than 1 centre-half for 30 or 40.
What about Greaves, the Hull?
Yeah, if you sign him 2, then as a left footer, he's decent. Is him and Tarky a top 10, which is where Everton would, I think, like to be eventually, centre-back pairing? I don't, on the dice maybe, but I don't.
What about like an overlapping year?
What?
You could somehow keep Branthwaite.
As a forward, as a 1 of 4, Greaves, he's one of the best centre-backs in the Championship. He's nice on the ball as well. He's not as good as Branthwaite, obviously. There's a big drop-off there, but I think Everton, if Everton was bring 80 million in, that's 4 £20 million players. I mean, two centre-halves and whatever other positions you need to fill. You've got to do it that way rather than relying on bringing one big money. Like we've talked about Onana before. We're not probably going to make a lot of profits on him in the end because how much we pay for him. But the idea to sell him on is the right idea.
Yeah. I mean, there are players out there. You've just got to do it correctly, haven't you? See what you can get. Emma said, where were we getting 35 million for non-top? Well, we weren't. Where we were trying to get him for 25 with something like 2 million.
I think that was an interesting move. I've watched the season. He's just not a Dyche player to me. Don't get me wrong, the dynamism's there that we lack now, but just, I don't know, maybe he would have been one you brought off the bench, late in games to change it up. I don't know, but it just...
It'd be weird though, wouldn't it, that because they chased it the whole summer. You're still chasing it with 2 days to go. And if the outlay would have been 25 million and Dyche was never going to play him, he was just going to be a sub. That's... I wonder if they'll chase anyone who's going down from the teams this season. Like an Odegaard from a Burnley or someone like that. He hasn't scored goals though, has he?
He's a good player though.
No, he's a nice footballer, but
He's younger than people think, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Nonso's got eight goals in the Championship in 36 games. He got 2 in the Premier League in 24, but he's only 20. But a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah. It's harder, if you're going to pay 25 million, it's hard to get Somerville.
Something of that nature, yeah.
Wouldn't you? But P. Macher says if we sell Branthwaite, we'll probably get Bentley.
Getting the band back
So
together.
we'll be back, me and Tarkovsky. We've got to try to keep Branthwaite, haven't we, for 1 more year, sure.
I just think with the finances it's going to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle to do that, but the Onana's got to be the first protocol. If they're going to, because you're not playing him anyway.
You're going to buy it though, don't you? I mean,
it depends if you think it's peak value for Branthwaite now.
Yeah.
If you think there's a chance that he has a 10% less season, next season affects his value. 10%'s not a lot, but it's got to be peak. You've got to sell him at peak value. Now you could get better next season, even bigger value. It's about making that decision when peak value is to sell.
No, you're right, because that's the key, isn't it? Knowing when to sell when they're on the top bit, and it's
like we sold the car exactly, and we turned down the contract for exactly the right time because peak value is the highest for us.
Yeah. Sad though, isn't it? Because you want players like Branthwaite to stay.
Well, we don't want to be, we want to have that, like we had Moyes with the same players, so apart from Lescott for like 5 or 6 seasons, didn't we? It was nice to have
You've got
consistency.
The players, haven't you? You want to, what you want, I know this isn't the time to have that conversation because Everton are not stable, but you want to see them almost moulding a team, and then you understand that unless you're really successful, even if you are, I mean, people are talking about Newcastle losing Isaac, people are talking about Villa losing Watkins, and get Villa in the Champions League. And
with that new hard cap, I don't think either are losing.
You know what I mean? But even if those kind of teams, Newcastle got to sell Isaac or Bruno Gomes, well, that's Newcastle with all the money who were trying to move somewhere. So they're still, so it's never going to be a case we don't have to sell anyone. But if you're putting a core team together and you're selling one every couple of years and reinvesting it, surely that's how Everton, because the rules have changed now, and surely that is how clubs after operating, and Everton and
I think everyone has, apart from the three maybe four. Even Liverpool have had to sell a player every couple of years, just to sustain the money.
Do you think Evertonians were all still like terrified of that instead of just embracing it and going, that's just the way it is, because we'll redevelop and build again? Do you think that I don't think it's sell to buy, because I don't really agree with that.
No, I think it's different generations. You've got the generation that watched the 80s team, where we built a team over 3 or 4 years, and the end of, and we only had to sell them because of what happened with about being in Europe. And there's different generations. I think the football manager generation, we love the buy to sell idea, because that's what it's all about, is buying and selling players. And I think some struggle to buy into the teams now, because it's so transactional. Branthwaite's ours, but it's like, we're going to need though, won't he? So it's hard to latch on to players. I think for younger kids, it's really hard to latch on to players like that. But I think we have to do. That's the nature of football. Even under Moyes, our best peer in the last 20 years or whatever, we had to sell Lescott. I know Moyes didn't want to sell Lescott, but we had to sell him. And even Rooney, we didn't want to sell Rooney, but look how that worked out. The next season we got the magical fourth, and it kicked us on for that money. Kicked us on for a couple of years. So it can be a good way of replenishing a team. If you sell one, get 4 or 5, and it makes a massive difference. But that's just the way football is now. There's apart from Man City, I don't think there's anyone who could get away without selling. Yeah,
I mean, just from an Everton going on match and all that, and seeing the club develop, surely, if it means we end up with a better team, that's development, and we're enjoying more success, relative success than scrapping. Surely we have to think it's in.
No, and football does feel so. It feels so yearly now, doesn't it? Like everything in football, kits, shirts on the names on the back of shirts, everything just feels like it's a one season thing, and we've all learned not to get attached, which is really sad about football. I find that you can't get attached to players. Big clubs can, but we can't, because we're the chicken feed, aren't we? Ultimately.
But do we have to make our peace with that, and then just...
No, you have to make your peace with it. Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you a question I answer that. It's also that confidence in the club being able to do what you want them to do.
Yeah,
I think that's where the fans have...
the last person we sold for any money was Lukaku, wasn't it? And what did we do with that money? We pissed her up the wall. Well,
Stones and Lukaku's consecutive seasons, that funded that whole...
But it was like a shock to everybody at the football club that we were selling them. Like, that's got to be, if Branthwaite leaves, it can't be, it has to be like, and here's this player, and here's this player, and this player, and we've already got this. That's what something like succession planning there, about having a centre-back in the year before you get for good value.
Well, look at Aston Villa. Yeah. They had Jack Grealish, and their fans loved him, and he was their poster boy. A lad from the Midlands, he was come through, he was a tremendous footballer, and they just signed him 4 players and then sold them.
But they also had £100 million valuation for him in the contract, which I just can't imagine Everton got anywhere near.
No, but what I meant was, you're right, that the business side's right, but what I mean is they've gone after Leon Bailey and different.
No. Liverpool
have been good at this. Liverpool, when they were selling, they always brought a couple in first, and the fans sort of went, we've got him. Oh, he's going. Yeah, but we've got him. Whereas Everton have all the way through.
Stuart, I don't class Anthony Gordon, because we sold him in a rush.
Yeah,
we did.
But we Everton have always sold and then gone, right, who are we buying? Where it's never been like, we want to buy Andy and Ned, right, we'll sell. But do you know what I mean? It's never been that.
We've always fought it, haven't we? Even when we sold Lescott, we fought it to the very end. There was an idea of this player can't leave us. And maybe that was more to do with who was buying them offers at the time. That we were like, we can't. We've got our place, and he's going to take our offers. Whereas we've never had a plan in place. We sold him, and then we rushed into 3 signings, and 1 out of 3 was successful in Distan. Lukaku, he was replaced by Wayne Rooney as a centre forward. John Stones was replaced by Ashley Williams. We never had anything in place where other clubs, like you mentioned Villa, there would have had sound. We're going to buy all these players. We've never done it. We've never known how to do it. And if Branthwaite goes, whether it be this summer or next summer, I know it'll be different this summer because it will sort out a lot of problems. But if it's next summer, then you're looking at it and going, we could do this, this and this with it. Because you'd imagine things will start looking a little bit better. Because next summer, we're only talking a year away, Everton's funds will start to triple coming through the gates. It's just a fact. It will.
Yeah, it will.
And then you can go, we can guarantee this money. We can guarantee Goodison Park, Bramley Moor or whatever is going to be full. Every game because of the waiting list and everything else. So
and the money goes.
So suddenly you go and we can buy that player because we know there's a guaranteed income coming into the football club. This summer is just, and that's why there is this thing. Oh, Banthwaite probably go. I mean, I don't know whether he will or he won't because I don't know where the club truly is. I don't know who's going to buy us, and I don't know what we exactly need.
If a sovereign fund came in, they'll be like, no, we want to keep the England international channel. If a more practical people come in, American venture capitalists maybe, they might think, well, let's get some working capital, go and sell Branthwaite. That's just, and that's like in the NHL or MLB, basically trade 1 for 4 players. Basically, that's what you're doing, aren't you? With money.
Yeah.
And Richarlison was the same as well. We sold him.
Under the gun, yeah.
We sold him basically with the gun against our head, didn't we? I'm talking about players that
didn't want to go.
I'm talking about players that we sold when we could have been planning for the next. I mean, when Ron went, we could have done anything with that money. And we should have, in the February, when he rejected the contract, we should have had a striker line. We're like Nedim on Vinted.
No, you like Steve Walsh in Milan.
Yeah, with his butties.
He got butties though in his briefcase.
Briefcase.
Locke says, you think we'd be after the Watford lad, a sprayer? Well, we have looked at him. We have tracked him.
Football,
and Luton have a few good players, Doughty, Adebayo, Barkley, Lokonga. Well, yeah, maybe if Onana.
There are
Arsenal want Onana.
He's not taking Lokonga. It's just tactically like Barkley. The two of them together, just all over the place tactically.
But have Ross though with a free. If it's the story,
10,
a free is a 10. Because he makes the squad better and can play a couple of positions. He can even play on the right where Coleman had them sometimes, and he puts some tremendous crosses in. Adebayo, I like.
Interesting Adebayo, because obviously I know my former business partner works for Luton. They thought that he'd been found out last year in the Championship and they were worried about him. Then he obviously went on fire in the playoff final, and then he's come to the Premier League, and I think they're worried again, which is why they probably will sell him, is that it'll happen again. He'll get found out in the Premier League in terms of how to play against them. So it'd be interesting.
He's powerful though, isn't he?
Big, strong, powerful. They signed him from Walsall, 250 grand. He never scored a single goal for the youth team of Fulham for whatever reason. Goes to Walsall, gets 18 in 2 seasons, and then on you go. It's been cracking for him.
But there's those, I know we're going to finish them, but there is those players, like look at Semenyo at Bournemouth. I mean, he's
lovely, yeah.
He's powerful, he's strong.
Pace, yeah.
Yeah, they are there out Ben. He's done really well at Luton, I think. So
that has to be the starting point, though, hasn't it?
There are them players, aren't there?
Well, if you look at Everton's history, we've got to get back to. I was talking to someone in recruitment this morning who works in the Championship, saying Everton signed Stones, Holgate. At the end of the day, he's ended up as a first team player, whether he's good or not. All those players from the Champion, Branthwaite from the League Two. That was our bread and butter. Yeah, we've got to get back to that semblance of bringing young British players through.
It is mad, isn't it? That we're still talking about pace in wide areas. Me and you done a video on Malcolm 5 years ago about who Everton could have been.
He's making an absolute fortune in Russia, isn't he?
I know, but what I mean is we were doing that then. We were talking about Everton needing pace in wide areas, and we've never got it. We still haven't got it.
The midfield had to be fixed twice in that time, didn't it, unfortunately? So one of those, again, maybe does again, but what's saying?
It's mad. It is mad how you're looking at. What do you make of this, sorry? Jorge Rodriguez says they stop buying players from teams going down.
No, I disagree. We've signed I'm working for Preston, obviously. We've signed Will Keane, scored 10 goals previous season for Wigan, got relegated, scored 12 goals for us this season, was great for us. It's not. Obviously, I wouldn't sign 10 players from relegated team, but individuals. It's a team. It's a team or a squad element of why they went down, or a club element. It's not individual players' fault. So I think there's definitely players you can sign from relegation teams. You can add something to your team.
Look at, Tarkowski's arguably been one of our best players.
He's been flawless.
Yeah.
So,
you don't want a team full of them, but you can
individually.
Yeah, you can. There's definitely like Adebayo. You look at him and think someone will.
Liverpool, Robinson got relegated.
Yeah.
That was got relegated.
We should have got him at the time.
It's slows though, isn't it? There's players that you piece them in if they're the right people, and Everton are going to have to be clever, and they're going to have to, and Diddy. Everton have been linked with these free this summer. 18 months ago, he looked like the business, and he has dropped off, but maybe he just needs a new... I mean, what would you say about him, did he?
It's just the wages, but apart from the wages, he suits Everton. I think the issue for him is always on the ball. He probably wasn't good enough for a Man United or an Arsenal, and I think that's when he was getting linked with people start to get uneasy at that level. But for an Everton, wins the ball back. You know, if he's motivated, he's been up and down the Championship in terms of motivation this season. But when he's on, he's a good player. I think you know that transition away from Ghana would be helped by a player like that.
And if he's free,
it's just the wages, Everton. I think we've got to be conscious how much they're going to pay for.
No, of course, but then what are his options? That's what you have to look at as well.
Well, yeah, what's available out there for him.
So it is a bit of an interesting. Pat, just very quickly, obviously the 777 stuff continues to roll on. Yeah, not fully out yet, but I mean, this just needs concluding now, doesn't it? I mean, the manager's been asked about it again today, and everything is his plans, which is what Dean said before. I think when we started this recruitment thing. How can you plan when everything else is up in the air? And you're absolutely right, Dean, that way. I mean, my response to that would be the recruitment team have still got to do their job and need to be ready to go just in case it pops. But we have to have some sort of conclusion to this.
They have to be binned. No, they have to be binned. I mean, I'm on the record now. They have to be binned because they've had all the time in the world to get this concluded. And they're just, when you just look at them, they're just... The noises are just getting worse and worse and worse. It's a house of cards and it's falling down.
What would you say to because MSP have been linked again, and is there any concerns there because they've never wanted the?
No, I listen. I don't know because they were the front runners, weren't they? And there was the guy who's part of them is owned like the Phoenix Suns and stuff like that, and has made a lot of money through sport in America and stuff. I can't just jump from one and go to the other and go, these are all right, but they are not. They nearly bought us, and then another arm of not Everton football quite, but one of the people we owe money to wouldn't allow them because they undervalued their shares, which meant they would never get the money back. So it's a very complicated situation. Whoever comes in has to come in and go, I understand the value of Everton Football Club, its history, its fans, and what this club could be, and I'm not going to try and undersell anyone or do anything. Pay what you have to pay, buy into the club and take it on. None of this like half measure nonsense that we've seen with everybody so far.
And Machiri.
Yeah,
honest.
But I just think 777, you've had your chance and you haven't done it. You haven't done it. You've took a whole season and you haven't done it. And Machiri has to walk away from the table now. They need us more than we need them. I know a lot of people may not see it that way, but it's true. We are the top of whatever pyramid they've got. Legally, I won't say which one it is. We have to just pull away now. And if there are those people out there, then make yourself known. The whispers, the rumours, the talk has been out there. There's other people. Step forward. Make yourself known.
Well, there's been a few. Obviously, Kevin Malone, who's at the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, but I've heard about that. He's just the manager. He's a glorified general manager.
Yeah. But he's trying to put a consortium. There's others around. Well, if they're realistic and they're genuinely interested, come and do it.
Tim Cahill. And those two lads.
Where are you,
and those two lads who met the Lions in Qatar.
They're the ones.
Just saying, it's on you, boys.
The three of them get together.
Do you think the rules need to change around? Because what's annoyed me about the whole ownership process is a company's been allowed to load Everton with debt while it's trying to buy it.
Yeah.
Do you think that there isn't people out there thinking, I could do this and load a club with debt and then pull out of buying them? I know the debt's going to have to be restructured probably, but it's a dangerous precedent that Everton.
It depends if it's secured or not, doesn't it? And 777.
Well, I know certain companies who would secure it.
Yeah.
If anything happens, we are the first.
777. The stupidity of that, it seems,
is that
they haven't protected themselves.
There are bigger sharks around that would.
Of course.
Of course.
And that's what I'm saying. It's got to be somebody. It's got to be someone who just buys the club. Forget about all this nonsense. It's got to be someone who comes in and just buys the football club.
If you look at what's happened with them, on one hand, they've really helped Everton because they kept Everton afloat. On the other, to their own detriment, really. But obviously, there's too much other stuff going on, and I still think that at some stage of this, on a much earlier process, the minute they weren't able to do it, say at the end of January, there should have been a 30-day period, say, where they had to when it come out 6-8 weeks ago. There's conditions to it. There should have been a 30-day period for them to meet them conditions, and if they didn't, that's when it should have been pulled. In the Premier League, it's great sort of going, we're not going to make that decision. When they said we approve it with these 4, was it 4 conditions?
Passing the buck though, wasn't it? Yeah.
I know, but I don't mind them giving them another let, but give them a timescale for it of 30 days. And if you've had, I don't know, say it's 6 months to get this money together, and you go, can I have a bit longer? 30 days should be enough for you to do it. And if it isn't, it's over. We'd all know where we are, because don't forget, forget about everything else. Us as fans have just been dangled. The club has been just left dangling. And it's getting worse each month because no one's getting hold of it and going, right, I own it now. And all you debtors, we're restructuring this and we're doing this and making this thing healthier. The hole's getting bigger. Like you said, the load of the debt's just getting worse because there's no end sight. And the Premier League have a responsibility with their rules and this PSR stuff. The whole reason this thing exists is so clubs can't be loaded with debt, aka Portsmouth, which is why I come in. Yet they've allowed this to be loaded with debt. So the Premier League are not following their own rule book, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they've done everything a disservice, really.
Yeah. Let's hope it's sorted quickly.
Get on the phone, Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Come on. You're the man to save us.
Let's do it. Everybody sort it. I mean, B has said Elon Musk Nansen Scotty Road, the Tesla Stadium.
Hank Scorpio.
Sheila Musk.
Yeah. Yeah, he thinks I've been for a meeting with Mark Cuban in Florida.
Absolutely.
I tried to set it up, but he was just
Lives in
always
Dallas.
unavailable. He's always in the lightning lane queue for Tron. You know, and I only got to do that once, so
Fair play.
Fair play to him. Right, listen, a huge thanks to the person in the room, our recruitment expert in the room,
Person in the room.
for all his input. It's been fascinating, as always. Excellent. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Let's hope that. It'd be lovely when we go live tomorrow, if Everton, if there was a line in the sand and we could move on, wouldn't it? Let's all hope for that.
Otherwise, we'll just get on Twitter. That lad who knows
The
Josh.
lad knows Josh.
Knows Josh off LinkedIn.
It's LinkedIn. But Josh would probably say, just say, we're still in there,
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
we're in
Mr.
there, lad,
Wonder would
we're in
be
there,
like,
lad.
Do you remember there was
Still
Stevie Usmanov who claimed to know Usmanov as well back in the day as well?
he was boss, Stevie Bit.
There's always one person who seems to be close to these oligarchs or whatever these things.
A clean his boat, lad.
Fair. Isn't his boat, wasn't his boat in Germany something? Or
Yeah, it's been confiscated in Germany, hasn't it?
apparently, yeah. That's what they said.
But it would, yeah.
There's barnacles on the deck.
That's if Usmanov come in with a bid to buy Everton. I can't sort him. Let's leave that there. We'll see you later. Bye.